Hey, everybody. It's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan and Certic. This is an audit company. They performed the security check on the automated market maker, which will bring new incentives. I'm talking real payouts to the XRP holders who choose to participate in the DeFi application that will be part of the new amendment that's coming to the Ledger ecosystem. They are one of the fastest growing and most trusted companies in the blockchain security space. So Certic is what they call themselves, a market leader. Well, they might be, because look at this. To date, they have worked with nearly 4,000 enterprise clients, secured over 360 billion worth of digital assets, and they've detected nearly 70,000 vulnerabilities in blockchain code. Clients include leading projects such as Aave, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Yearn Finance, and Chiliz. And you'll know many of the names that back then. They're some of the largest VCs in the space, like Sequoia, Tiger Global, SoftBank, Goldman Sachs, Coinbase, Binance, and others. I'm going to have them on the channel this week, and I have lots of questions to ask them, especially about this XRP Ledger page, where they give the Ledger a security score of 91.87. It's a AA rating, and you can see among the metrics there, the score of only 77 for the community trust. Yeah, that's something I really want to better understand. I'll be sure to ask them how it's calculated. The page is most interesting, and I hope we get a chance to go through it because, yeah, like I said, I have lots of questions, so look forward to that. All right, moving right along. I sent this message to my Patreons today where I was disappointed. I continue to be disappointed by the lack of research in this space by content creators. The so-called researchers are just reading articles without vetting their sources or even checking into the quality of media. I was happy to see Lynette is still researching. Yeah, if you had looked into the appointed ambassador, that Russian ambassador in Kenya that started this rumor about a gold-backed currency being launched next month for BRICS, it was so obvious that it was really a rumor. This guy fuds the West continuously, and there's plenty of podcasts to listen to where it clearly shows his bias and agenda-based narrative. No, there's not going to be a gold-backed currency launch next month by BRICS. Sorry. Listen to a little bit of that video that Lynette put out today.
There have been a lot of talk about the BRICS nations, and they've got a symposium coming up, and they're going to back the currency with gold. And I've talked a lot about this because this is certainly not the first time that this issue has come up. But let me show you what's really happening under here, because there is no way that any currency can back their currency with gold until they get rid of all the debt. This whole new issue came up again because of a tweet from a Russian state-owned media outlet. BRICS is set to introduce a new currency backed by gold in contrast to the credit-backed US dollar, with the decision coming a month ahead of the bloc summit in Johannesburg. With a growing initiative, more and more countries are lining up to join the group. So on the surface now, everybody's talking about this because that meeting is coming next month. And wow, they can just do this. Well, let's look at this a little bit deeper. This is where it started from. This is a tweet from the Russian embassy in Kenya. The BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency which will be backed by gold. More and more countries recently expressed the desire to join. And what they did was they put this article in here from foreignpolicy.com. So that is not any kind of government agency, but to support this claim, that's what they put in there. They did that on July 2nd. But when you go in to that article, so the Russian embassy, and they're going to shake the dollar's dominance. When you go into that article, this article is dated April 24th of 2023. So this is not a new thing. What did they say in that article? Well, I pulled it up. And again, this is a news story. This is not coming from any official agency at all. And I just put Control F in that article to see where they were talking about gold. You got the link. You can read the whole article for yourself. And what it says is, but assets. So this is a suggestion of this article. Assets denominated in the BRIC, the new currency, would actually have characteristics likely to make them unusually attractive to foreign investors. Among the major drawbacks of gold as an asset class for global investors is that in spite of its risk-reducing value as a diversifier, it does not pay interest. It doesn't have to pay interest because it's the safest thing that you can do. That's why all the global central banks are buying it. So, since the BRICS reportedly plan to back their new currency with gold and other metals with intrinsic value like rare earth, and China certainly dominates in that, and Russia, by the way, has a lot of precious metals, interest-paying assets denominated in the BRIC would resemble interest-paying gold. Oh, isn't that interesting? Interest-paying gold. That's an unusual characteristic. How can they do that? It is one that can make the assets denominated in the BRIC attractive to investors who want both the interest-bearing property of bonds and the diversifying property of gold. So what they might do, and this is just a suggestion from an article, is have a combination of debt and gold. But unless you can convert, and I want you to hear me so clearly on this, whether you're hearing it today or you're remembering it tomorrow, unless you can convert any currency or any instrument into the physical metal, then how do you know that it's there? And how do you know that it's at the level that they're saying? You don't. I think that this was a story that just kind of escaped, because in order to do even what they talked about in that article, which is having an instrument that has some gold component in there, but is still primarily a debt instrument, so it pays interest, they're going to have to get rid of that debt first. They're just gonna.
So great to see the amount of engagement that came from the Australian XRP community wave of innovation announcement of the XRP Gold Coast 2024 conference. There must be a lot of people wanting to go to the Gold Coast for this. 129,000 impressions, which cultivated 4,122 engagements. That's very high for a 24-hour period. I had a lot of people ask about a link to the event, so I will be sure to put it in the description below. Wojciech is an independent builder developer. His specialty, Evernode. That is a decentralized app for anyone forever, as their mantra states. It's a permissionless, flexible, scalable Layer 2 smart contract network composed from the XRP ledger. Its beating heart is the Hot Pocket. With the new Hook sidechain, I'm sure you're going to hear a lot about this. Now, Wojciech put out a tweet today. Public service announcement for the XRPL and XRP community members. Stop fooling around, joking, and wasting time. Start working on the positive side of things, building, discussing, planning, researching. He's pushing, isn't he? We legitimately can't afford to stagnate. Let's build and contribute in any way. I had Krypton Writer on my channel the other day, and we talked for hours. I've clipped just a little portion where we are discussing the new exciting possibilities of working in an environment where you're free to build and test anything your mind can dream up, especially now with hooks and Evernode. Wow. Well, I've been thinking hard about this call to build, and we need someone to build a Tinder app to match the people with business ideas with the developers who have skill sets that could make it a reality, don't you think? Okay, back to the clip.
What's important to understand is that we have to distinguish between these two topics. They are not the same. When you talk about incentives, you have to understand that incentives are not bound to consensus all the time. You can have a consensus that is not incentivized and still be incentivized to do business on Ledger, because you have like some mechanisms like DeFi mechanisms that help you build the business, that help you finance the business while staying permissionless and having the option to be unincentivized in agreement on Ledger, right? So the consensus is not necessarily also the part which is interesting to speak about when you think about incentivizing businesses. And that's the part where, like I wrote in the thread, where you go down with hooks and automated market makers and like Evernote smart contracts, finding ways to finance and incentivize your business while keeping the ledger safe and unincentivized.
Right. And also too, we should mention that although the nodes and the validators on the main chain are not incentivized, with running the side chain, that can change. And that is a new possibility. I mean, that it's still something that is shaping in terms of its structure. So that possibly could change. So I just don't think we want to say that that's going to be hard written in stone for the hooks chain or for the environment that you choose to operate in if you are going to work within the new sidechain, right?
Absolutely. I think it's somehow set in stone for the main chain.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a reason why you would change the main chain consensus. It just works for over 10 years without an issue. And having no incentive on the main chain is, I think, is key. But the beauty for sidechains is, and even for forks, right? You don't have to like build a sidechain. You can also fork the ledger because the license model allows it to do it. But the beauty is that you are free to shape the sidechain in a way that fits your business or fits your network. For example, you could build a canary network that copies the XRP ledger, the public one, because you want to, in our case, for example, you want to test out the hooks amendment on a canary network like basis, or you want to change the whole structure. You want to go away from blockchain and want to go to a directed acyclic graph structure, completely different structure. Or you even want to combine it. You want to do both. Yeah, you're free to do whatever you want. Right. You can change basically anything on the sidechain and be free to do it and test it. And if it makes sense, you can port it back to the main chain and ask the community on the main chain to implement it or not via using an amendment. Right. And let the validators vote on it.
Yeah, that's really kind of the beauty of what's been done, I think, with the hook sidechain, is that it kind of is going to allow for a lot of that testing, and then the main chain can pick and choose what is successful and what is deemed worthy of maybe adoption. And we've seen the amendments passed on kind of a slow basis, and everything's been quite careful, and there's not been a lot of change to the main chain in very many years. But I think with a lot of people testing new applications and new environments, I think that the amendments will probably pass a little easier and a little quicker, those that have proven out to be solid and stable. Don't you think?
Absolutely. It's way easier to be sure that amendment will not alter the chain or mint new tokens. And the safety of the ledger is proven in some sense if it's if it's proven on a sidechain. If you take an amendment or a feature that you want to implement in the main chain, and you're not sure if the community likes this feature, you can build a canary network-like network, test out the feature, and prove to the community over a long time that the amendment that you like, the feature set that you like, that you want to implement on the main chain works perfectly fine without any issues on a sidechain. And if that works, you can just take the feature and ask the community to implement it on the main chain.
Yeah.
So it will go way quicker, and you can like build thousands of sidechains if you want. Like if the development community increases, the motivation increases to instead of writing code and asking the validators to vote on the amendment, you can also just build up a sidechain and test it there.
Yeah.